So find a comfortable position. I love all the pets that suddenly decide to join in as you guys are lying down. Awesome. Okay, so once you have found a comfortable position down on the mat, you can keep your eyes open or closed, but I'd just like you to take a minute and start to scan your body. So just notice how your body is feeling on the mat at this moment in time. Maybe even starting from the crown of your head and scanning down to the tips of your toes. And you can notice any differences you feel from side to side. If you've taken my class before, you can think back to weeks prior and see how you feel today compared to before. And just allow your body to melt onto the mat. And as you start to tune your attention into how your body is connecting with the mat and how you feel today, see if you can imagine your breath and imagine where your breath is going. So a lot of times in situations of stress, we tend to send our breath up high in our shoulders, maybe even into our neck. See if you can funnel your breath down a little bit lower today. So maybe down through your belly or even wide out to the side in your rib cage. So we have a number of dimensions that we can breathe with our body. Use the wideness and breadth of your rib cage to help expand your breath down a little bit lower. That actually helps you to connect into some of your abdominal muscles and support muscles for your spine. So allow your breath to be comfortable, allow it to be natural. And try just 2 more gentle breaths at your own. I'm going to join you guys down on the mat. And last breath here. Now, if your legs are extended, go ahead and bend both of your knees, planting your feet down on the mat. They should be about hip distance apart. We're going to start to introduce a little bit of movement by pelvic tilting. So what that means is rocking your pelvis back towards your face and then unraveling it towards your feet. So if you could imagine the space underneath your low back, you're closing that space and then opening, gently closing that space and opening. Now you can pair this with your breathing by exhaling to close the space under your low back, inhaling to open. Exhale to close, inhale to open. And this is gentle. It should be within your pain-free range of motion. It's normal for this movement to be a little bit stiff, especially first thing in the morning. So allow this movement to be natural and just work within what's comfortable for your body. Hopefully, as you move back and forth a couple of times, that movement gets a little bit easier, maybe a bigger range of motion here. We'll try for about 4 more. And 3, last 2, and 1 more time. Settle right in the middle. Allow your arms to rest down by your side. We're going to start to bring some rotation into your lower body. So bring your feet together and gently start to rock your legs from side to side. Again, I want you guys to listen to your body. Only allow your legs to rock as far as you can go without feeling any tenderness or soreness. This should be comfortable. Hips are lifting, and that's okay, but you want to keep your shoulders down on the mat. So only going as far as you can keep heaviness across your chest and shoulders resting down. You may also notice quite a difference from side to side, and that's also okay. Just notice that for right now and let your body move a little bit. Again, we're starting to introduce rotation into your back. Very nice. We'll do 4 more here. Last 3 and 2. And last time, come back through the center. From here, separate your feet back to that hip distance apart. So we've done a little bit of mobility work for our back. We're now going to do a little bit of strengthening work for our spine. And so we're going to work into our hip muscles, our glutes, and they provide a big support for our back when we're standing and bending, picking things up. So from this position, go ahead and lift your hips up to the ceiling. Bring your hands to your butt muscles, your glutes. These should be the muscles that are working. So check in, check with your hands to make sure that you can feel those muscles working. Now, you may feel a little bit of tenderness through your lower back in this position. If that's the case, take your rib cage down closer towards your hip joint as though you're closing the space between your ribs and hips just slightly. Now, you have the option to just hold this position. If you feel comfortable, you can go ahead and lower your hips to the floor and start to lift. Lower your hips to the floor and start to lift. So just warming up the hip muscles. And again, you should feel both feet pressing down into the floor equally as though you're going to leave a little footprint. I'm going to come up quickly just so I can take a peek at your form. You guys can continue to lift and lower here. So Danielle, Ileana, if you can walk your feet in a little closer towards your bottom. Kristen, you too. If you guys are feeling more of the work in your hamstring muscles, walk your feet in closer towards your bottom. We'll do 2 more here. And last time, hold up at the top. Now, if you guys would like to try a challenge here, we're going to do 5 single leg bridges. If this feels challenging already, please stay with the double leg bridge. For those of you trying single leg, lift one leg up, and then we lower and lift for 5 and 4, 3 and 2. Last time, go ahead and switch your legs. Again, you may still be down in that double leg bridge, and that's okay. Take what feels right for your body. We have 3 more and 2. Last time, lift up, drop your feet down, drop your hips down, and take a little rest. Now, we're going to go into a little bit more strengthening work, this time for the muscles on the front of our spine, so our abdominals. So gently rock your pelvis back and forth once again, like our pelvic tilt from the beginning of class, and find a position where your spine, where your pelvis rather, is somewhere right in the middle of those 2 range of motion. This is your neutral spine position. So from here, you can bring your right knee in towards your chest, gently hug that knee in towards your chest, and you're going to straighten your left leg to float. Now, if this feels like a lot of pressure for your back, lift your leg up a little bit higher. If this feels really easy, lower your left leg down towards the floor. From here, we switch our legs in space. As we switch our legs, I want you guys to imagine that I just put a glass of water right onto your stomach, and you don't want to spill a single drop of that water. So you're trying to keep your trunk nice and still as you move your legs in space, getting this nice stretch through your hips in opposition. We go for 5, 4, 3, 2, last time, hug both knees in towards your chest, take a gentle rock from side to side. We're gonna go into a little progression of this exercise, and again, you can stay with that bent knee version. Otherwise, we're gonna try for straight legs. So reach your legs up to the ceiling, maybe hugging behind your knee or up at your ankle. Drop the opposite leg down towards the floor. This time we scissor our legs and switch. Scissor our legs and switch. Now notice I have my head down on the floor. We're creating length through our spine by letting the back of our neck rest on the floor. That may mean you need to bend your knees, and that's okay here. We go for 4 and 3, last 2, and 1. Gently hug both knees in towards your chest and rock. From here, we're going to go into a little stretch for our hip muscles. So sometimes tightness around our hips can actually give us some sensitivity and soreness in the lower back by restricting our range of motion. So with both feet on the ground, bend your right knee and place your right ankle on top of your left thigh. Now this already might feel like a stretch for you. So if it does, stay here. If not, you're gonna lift your left knee and hug behind your left knee with your hands. So I'm actually threading my right hand in between the hole with my right leg and left leg and pulling the knee in towards the chest. And you should feel a nice stretch through the right hip muscles. And you're just gonna gently hold this stretch. Now, if you want to deepen and intensify this stretch even a tiny bit more, you can take your right hand onto your right knee and gently press your right knee away from your body. So it's as though you're tipping it towards your feet. And this is gentle. None of these stretches should be painful. You should be able to relax into these positions. So just push yourself to the point where you feel a gentle stretch. And then go ahead and bring your feet down. Take the right foot off. We're going to do the same thing on the left side. So now cross your left ankle on top of your right thigh. Maybe you stay in this position. Maybe you reach your hands through and grab onto the back of your right thigh. Now that you guys feel that set up, I'm going to come take a peek and just make sure everybody's form looks okay here. Remember, you're not pushing yourself into a strain. You're just gently holding a little stretch. And if you want to progress this stretch, you can take your left hand onto your left knee and gently press away. This is wonderful. We have so many people on camera today. You guys all look awesome. I really don't have a lot to correct, so nice job picking the right form for you here. And then gently bring that left foot down. Now go ahead and hug your knees in towards your chest. If you can, try and rock yourself up to a seated position. Otherwise, you can just press yourself on up to sitting. So we're going to try kind of a fun exercise today. It's actually a Pilates exercise. It's called rolling like a ball, but it is a nice spine stretch and massage. So what you're going to do is sit with your feet flat. Try and pick your chest up tall. Bring your hands behind your thighs, and then create a ball shape with your spine, just gently. From here, pick your feet up and see if you can balance. So you're just kind of holding this funny balance position. Now, maybe this is a challenge for you. Maybe you need to keep your feet down. If you guys would like to try the full exercise, you're going to roll back and come up and balance at the top. Roll back onto your spine, come up and balance at the top. So this is gentle. You're only rolling to your shoulder blades. You're not letting your head come down onto the mat. And at the top, you're trying to find that moment where you pause and get your balance. Feeling that gentle massage of your spine on the way down. Try 2 more. Awesome, guys, there, very nice. 1 more time, and come all the way on up. Take a quick rest. Nice job. From here, we're gonna flip on over to an all fours position. Now, if you have any knee sensitivity, this is where that pillow might come in handy. You can also roll up your yoga mat a couple of times and place that underneath your knees. If you have any wrist sensitivity, you can do this whole series down on your forearms. So if everybody can find a comfortable position, hands are going to be roughly underneath your shoulders, knees are underneath your hips. We're going to start to introduce a gentle cat-cow by rounding the spine and gently dropping your spine down into a little bit of extension. Now again, this is within your comfortable range of motion, which probably looks different than your neighbors. It looks different than mine. It looks different than your friends. Just work within your body today. But I'd like you to think about trying to create this movement from your rib cage. So you're dropping your rib cage down, you're pulling your rib cage up and in. That can help you to find a little bit more support from some of the muscles around your spine, like your abdominals. We'll do 2 more like this. And then 1 more time, and settle somewhere right in the middle. We're going to try and build up into a little balance here. So just taking note of what feels right for your spine. Go ahead and reach your right arm straight out in front of you. And if you feel comfortable, you can then go ahead and extend the left leg straight back behind you. Now you might feel a little bit wobbly here, and that's okay. Think about aiming your navel down towards the floor, reaching your right fingertips and left toes so far away from one another that they make your whole spine grow an inch longer. We hold and breathe here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back down to the middle. Awesome, guys. We have just 1 more side here. So reset. Make sure you're not wearing your shoulders as earrings. Take your shoulders down out of your ears, grow long through your neck. Reach your left hand out in front. You have the option now to go ahead and extend the right leg back behind you and hold your balance. Again, pointing your navel down towards the floor, reaching the left fingertips and right toes so far away from one another. Everything grew an inch longer. And we hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come all the way back down. From here, we're going to lie down onto your stomach. So slowly take yourself down onto the mat. Now, sometimes being in this position can be sensitive for our backs right off the bat. So go ahead and bring that pillow underneath your hips if that's the case. You can also separate your feet a little bit wider than hip distance, turning your heels together, toes apart if you have sensitivity in your lower back. Now we're going to plant our hands right underneath our shoulders, flat on the mat, and start to lift our back into a little bit of extension. And so maybe you can only lift your upper back. Maybe you feel comfortable pressing all the way up into your lower back. So gently just start to press up and down. You don't have to hold this one. And again, working with what's comfortable for your spine. Now this stretch in extension is the total opposite position of what we spend most of our days doing in flexion. So when we sit, our spine can get really stiff in the opposite position. So this is one that can start off pretty challenging, but as you loosen up, can really be nice for your back and creating mobility in your spine that helps you maintain better posture throughout the day. So keep this one in mind if you have just a minute or two throughout your day to go ahead and add some gentle stretching into your spine. We'll do 2 more. Good, guys. And one more time. Gently push yourself up and back. And you can switch your hips back into a shell stretch or child pose. So your hips are sitting back over your heels, fingertips reaching in front of you. Maybe you even let your forehead rest down onto the mat. And in this position, think of breathing into the back of your rib cage. So sometimes we have pain in our lower back because our upper backs are actually really stiff. You can create mobility in your upper back in this position by just expanding the back of your rib cage wide with your breath. And we'll take one more breath here. And then come back to that all fours position. Now we are going to try a plank here, and I want to show you guys quickly a couple of options and modifications for your plank. So you can be up on your hands and toes. You can be on your hands and your knees. You can also do your forearms and toes or forearms and knees. So you have a bunch of options. I want you guys to pick the one that feels right for you. We're not going to hold it for super long. We're actually going to add a little bit of movement into this plank. So go ahead and set on up. And no matter what position you choose, I want you to think about drawing the front of your rib cage in like you're giving your stomach a gentle hug. Now, once you have found that plank, we're going to push our hips up and back and find a little stretch, and then shift forward back into the plank. Those of you on your knees, you're pushing back into your child's pose, coming forward into your plank, pushing back and forward into your plank. We're going to do 4 more like that, and just go slow. Let yourself feel a gentle stretch through your feet, through your hamstrings. We have 2 more. Awesome job here, guys. Last time. And come all the way down, drop down onto the floor. Nice work. So far we have moved our spine forward, backwards, and twisting from side to side. The last final movement we're going to go over today is side bending, and that's kind of like a windmill motion. If you could imagine you were stuck between 2 panes of glass, that's being able to move sideways. So we're all going to start with our feet tipped off to the right so that you're sitting on the left side of your hip. If for some reason this doesn't feel good for your hips or your knees, you can always sit on a pillow to boost yourself up a little bit higher. Now from here, open up your arms, take up space, make the widest wingspan that you can imagine. Maybe you even put a little smile across your chest. And then we start to reach up and over and up and over. So we're gonna go side to side. Start to imagine your rib cage on the sides like an accordion. So you're opening up the side ribs, closing the side ribs, opening up and closing. So we can get some nice shoulder mobility here as well, but just take note of how your spine is feeling. Now, for those of you who want to try a little challenge, the next time your left arm goes down, you're gonna stretch your feet out and reach up and over, creating a big arc into a side plank, lowering your hips down and counter stretch. So again, left hand goes down, you reach your hips up high and lower yourself back down. You guys can try that if you want. Otherwise, you can stay just with this windmilling motion. We'll do about 2 more here. And last time. Now reach your hands behind you. If you want to do a fancy move here, we'll switch our feet up and over. Otherwise, you can just shimmy your feet over to point towards the left so that you're sitting on your right hip. And now your 2 hips might be different, so you may need a pillow on this side, even if you didn't need one on the other. We'll open up the arms, take up space, and same thing, start to windmill our arms up and over. So this is gentle, it should not be painful. Just let your spine move. One of the things we know about back pain is that our spines do not like to be in one position for a long period of time. So just adding gentle movement throughout the day can make a big difference in how our spines feel. If you guys want to progress this one, you plant the right hand down, reach the legs out long, lift the hips up to the ceiling and come back down. And again, that would be planting the right hands, making a big rainbow arc with your spine and lowering down. We'll do 2 more here. And last time, and take a little pause. Now, the last stretch we're gonna do today is for our hip flexor muscles. I'm gonna show you guys 2 ways to do this stretch. The reason the hip flexor stretch is so important for back pain is that our hip flexor on the front of our hip, it actually starts way down at our knee. It comes all the way up, it goes kind of through our stomach, that attaches to our low back. So when that muscle is tight, it is constantly pulling on our lower back. So we're gonna turn to the side. I'll show you guys from here and walk your right foot forward. Now again, if you have sensitivity to kneeling, you can put pillows under the knee. Otherwise, the second version I show you has no kneeling, so you can take a rest from this one. Go ahead and square off your hips, grow tall with your spine, engage your left glute muscle, and start to bend forward until you feel that stretch on the front of your left hip. And as soon as you feel that stretch, you can reach your left arm up in the air, your right arm down towards the floor, and you're gonna bend slightly to the right side. Now, for those of you who feel sensitivity, you guys can keep holding this stretch. You can do this in standing, and I like to have a chair nearby to hold on for balance. You're just gonna be in a big lunge position doing the same thing here. Okay, so you can kind of walk through the same cues in standing. So you guys can come out of that stretch. We'll set up for the second side now. So put your left foot in front. Maybe you have that chair nearby in standing. Square off your hips, get tall with your spine, engage your right glute muscles and hinge forward slowly until you feel a stretch on the right side. You want your chest up nice and tall, your core is active, and then reach your right arm up to the ceiling. You're gonna slowly bend over towards that left side. And this is a stretch you wanna hold about 30 to 45 seconds. So allow yourself to relax, to breathe. It's okay, even in this kneeling position, if you feel wobbly, to hold on to something. The point of this exercise is not balance so much as it is relaxing into that stretch. And then we'll come out of that position. Awesome. So I want to take a minute, I'm going to tip my camera up here to show you guys a couple things about ergonomics as it relates to work from home. I know that many of us do not have the most ergonomic setup with our work from home space, and we may even be working on the couch or in our bed. But I just wanted to show you a couple things to think about when it comes to lower back setup. So if, let's pretend this was my working chair. The way that this chair is set up for me is quite deep. I have to really kind of slump to get to the back of my chair. And so this is often the case with couches and such. If I take a pillow and add a support to my back, it now allows me to sit a lot more upright. And your goal to achieve good seated posture is to try and find about a 90-degree angle between your trunk and your hips. It's also helpful to have your feet resting down on the floor for support. So sometimes you may need to add a pillow or even a rolled up towel to your lower back to give you that extra support throughout the day. Now, one of the best things that I can recommend, regardless of how perfect your work from home setup is to take breaks from that setup. You could have the most ideal work from home setup, but if you stay in one position for the whole day, your back is not going to like that. I recommend maybe on your Outlook or even just a sticky note on your computer, put something that says posture or something that goes off once an hour that makes you just get up and walk around. It doesn't have to be a super long break. Even if you get up for 30 seconds, you change your position and go back to what you were doing, that little bit of movement makes a big difference. And these stretches that we went over today can help you guys. You don't have to do them all at once. You can take little bits and pieces from what you learned today and integrate them throughout your day. So that being said, I would love to answer any questions that you guys have. I think since there's a lot of us on camera today, if you can write them to me in the chat, I will announce the question and try and give you guys a good answer. So let me know what you guys are thinking, any questions that you have. And thank you guys so much for joining. It looks like a lot of you have some awesome weather. I'm jealous. These outdoor setups look great. We had snow this morning in Boston. Any questions there? Chastity, I think you're muted.
Sorry about that. Anupria has a question. She was asking if all exercises were safe for pregnancy.
That is a great question. So every pregnancy is different, and you do need to get some clearance from your physician just to make sure that you are appropriate to exercise. But I think assuming that you've had clearance from your doctor to exercise and that you had regularly been exercising prior to your pregnancy, most of these exercises are safe. Actually, I would say everything that we did today is safe. You may just need to be careful with the range of motion. I would say to limit the things that are a lot of twisting into a much smaller range of motion. But that is a great question. I have a question about whether or not this is being recorded. Chastity, maybe you can answer that one.
We're looking to scale the availability of these videos, so just stay tuned for that, but they're not readily available right now.
Okay. And then I have a question about any recommendations for lower back pain when sleeping. That is a great question. I get that a lot from different patients. And I think the setup depends on whether you're a back or a side sleeper, or even laying on your stomach. I would recommend that you try and sleep on your back or your side as opposed to your stomach. For a number of reasons, but I think that it is probably the least ergonomic for your back to be on your stomach. If you are on your side, one of the things that you can do is add a pillow between your knees, but also a pillow between your ankles. And so I know a lot of people tend to try the pillow between your knees. You actually need one down at your ankles too. And if you have a really long body pillow that kind of takes up the length of your whole leg. That helps to keep your legs in a neutral position. So if you can imagine when you're laying on your side, if one leg is in front, it actually creates rotation in your spine. And so if you're in that rotated position for 8 hours of sleep, you can be a little bit stiff when you wake up. So I would recommend trying the pillow there. For those of you who are having some discomfort with lower back pain when you're sleeping on your back, adding a pillow underneath your knees, maybe like a roll type pillow, or even just doubling up a regular pillow, that can help to take some of the stress off your back when your spine is totally extended. And you may have noticed that even when you lay down on the mat today, if you're more comfortable with your knees bent than your legs being flat on the mat, that is probably something you want to try.
So I think I have an update. Sorry, Allie. The lessons are posted on our website. For people who were unable to attend the live session, they can go on the site and view it from there.
Thank you. The next question I had here is, are these exercises good for the upper back too? That is a great question. Yes, these exercises are good for your upper back, but if you are interested in more stretching for your upper back, come to my class at 1 o'clock today. I have a class on neck and shoulder pain. We focus a lot more on the upper back. So more to come on that. That looks like, I think that is all of them. Thank you guys so much for joining. I'd love to see you again next week, and feel free to keep sending over questions if anything comes up.